Welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm Laural Porter, and welcome once again to my guest, Portland Business Alliance President and CEO, Sandra McDonough. Great to have you here once again.
Thanks, Laural.
We talked about this a little bit in the first segment about this poll that you conducted and the top concerns of people in the region. And the poll showed that homelessness, housing affordability, and traffic congestion were the three top concerns, which really reflect what you talked about in the Value of Jobs report with the addition of homelessness. So let's dig into that a little bit. How would you describe the situation right now? How is it affecting downtown and now our neighborhoods?
The homeless situation is probably the hardest one I've ever dealt with, where we've really had to learn a lot about who it is that's homeless, where they are. And one really good piece of news for Portland is that the number of people sleeping outside in our point of time count this last year was actually down 12%. And that's because our elected leaders made a real concerted effort to get more beds, more safe places for people to sleep in shelters and elsewhere. But we still have a lot of people who are homeless or couch surfing or sleeping in cars, and we need to start breaking it down and making sure we have solutions for the different kinds of people who are out there.
What are you hearing from businesses? How is it affecting them?
Well, we try really hard to separate the fact of being homeless, which is a condition that we need to approach with compassion, help people, from what we call livability issues. And I would say there's no saying that all of the livability issues are caused by homeless. So there is a concern downtown with growing, and in a number of our neighborhoods as well, with growing livability problems where people are finding needles and feces and camps that are difficult, that we would that are creating a problem for day-to-day business for residents and visitors. And so we are working with our leaders on how to deal with that.
And how do you think Mayor Wheeler is doing when it comes to this issue?
Well, I have to say being mayor is a really hard job, and he's taken it on, and he inherited a very difficult situation in terms of the need to address homelessness and the livability issues. And so he is working with our county chair, Deborah Kafori. They added almost 750 new emergency beds, which frankly was better than a lot of other major cities, including LA and Seattle. So they're working hard. We've got a lot to go. And what I have to say about the mayor is that he's very open to talking to us and all the others about different solutions and trying things.
His pick for Police Chief Danielle Outlaw has promised more community policing, and she was on Straight Talk last week. We asked her about downtown homelessness issues. She said we could arrest all day long and it wouldn't abate the problem, that the homeless crisis changed the way officers work in the community. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I tell people all the time that if you would have talked to me maybe 5 years ago, or if you hear me addressing new recruits or new officers that we've hired, and as I'm welcoming them to the police bureau, you'll hear me say, get out there, enforcement, make arrests, crime, 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 law and order. But the nature of what we deal with has changed drastically over time. And what we're talking about today are those livability issues that you're talking about. So when I say an officer takes a little bit longer, it's because we realize that everything doesn't require a response of going to jail. So our time is spent identifying resources, working with partners at the county level and other city partners to make sure that we're sending this person to the resource or directing them to the resource that they need. That takes a little bit longer than just responding to a call for service and taking a report.
Sandra, are you encouraged by the police chief's approach?
I think our new police chief is awesome. She's very direct, she's thoughtful, she came in and quickly sized up the situation, and what she is saying is that just arresting is not going to solve the problem, that we need to be able to engage with the people who are on the street and help find supportive housing and different options for them. And her police officers need to have time to do that. And the fact is we need more police officers, which is why we're supporting the mayor and the chief in the request at the city for better funding for our police so they can do the community policing that we value here.
We have a little over a minute left, and I want to touch on transportation because you did something called a dashboard where you looked at the city leaders' policies and how it's affecting the city's prosperity, and the dashboard gave a pretty bad grade to how the city's doing when it comes to transportation and roads. What's the biggest problem?
Well, there's a few problems. We passed a gas tax to fix our streets in this community, and people want their potholes fixed, but the number of miles paved did not go up after the gas tax was fixed. So we want to make sure that money is going to where Portland voters wanted it, and we wanted to see our streets repaired better. We also need to address congestion. We need to find solutions that look at all modes of transportation, bikes, pedestrians, cars, freight, and make sure that we can keep everything moving. And we haven't done a good job of that. So we're real concerned about what's going on within the Bureau of Transportation and want more attention there.
Well, Sandra McDonough, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to thank John Tapogna from ECONorthwest, who was our guest in the first segment. And once again, if you'd like to check out that Value of Jobs report, you can find it on kgw.com. We have a link there. And you can always send us your comments. Look for us on KGW Straight Talk. Thanks again, and thank you for watching. Join me next week when my guest is Oregon Senior Senator Ron Wyden. We'll see you then for Straight Talk.